Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the morning show here on Stock Market TV. I'm Spencer, joined by Steve. We got Chartmaster Rick working for us behind the scenes. Great show today. Great show today. We have Doug Busch, the senior technical analyst at Barron's. He'll be on the show in a few minutes. We haven't talked to Doug in a while. He's been writing some almost daily columns, maybe like not daily, but like 3-4 times a week, technically based columns for Barron's. We'll talk to him about that, what he's seeing right now. Talk to him about a few of his favorite charts. A lot of stuff going on this morning. Obviously, banks in focus. We'll talk about that. How can we not talk about software? We got some M&A this morning. That's always fun. I like M&A. It's exciting. Where is JC? JC will be back next week. I promise. The man is allowed to take a vacation. He's got 18 kids, apparently. Or 3. I don't know. It's between 3 and 18. So he'll be back next week. I promise. You have my word. Okay. Doug Busch, Kenny Glick, me, Strazza, you. Everyone all good? Yes? Excellent. Here we go. Good morning.
Hello.
Actually, you know what this coffee is? It's Lavazza coffee. True story.
JC's favorite.
True story. It's what we have in the house. I don't control it. Just what I've got. So, anyway, how you doing?
That coffee in the morning, man. You need it sometimes, you know?
Sometimes, like today, you need 2 before the show starts.
Spencer, we put on such a great trade Friday and Monday.
Yeah.
These software stocks appear to have finally bottomed. We talked about it yesterday. We stepped in. What?
It's possible, yeah.
It's looking that way. Like yesterday, what we were saying is if the broader market's doing so good, right? Like everything X software looking so good out here, even private equity lately, financials have really recovered. Look at the big banks. JP Morgan will be just fine. They had earnings this morning. Is software really falling off a cliff? We said, the answer is probably not, but we need some levels to trade against. And in Oracle, you couldn't have a better level, right? Oracle actually bottomed back in February, the first week of February, right? Big shake lower, dug in there, bounced, bottomed there again late February, bounced, hit that level again late March, bounced a little bit, right? And then again, we were there at the end of last week. We went a little red to green in that session, bought some calls. Even then, I was thinking, don't trust software, quite enough to sell the puts. Saw the action yesterday morning, talked about it, actually did when we were on the show. Bought more calls, financed them by selling puts. The puts that I sold, mostly of the 417 expiration, some 424, they were up 90-95% yesterday.
Wow.
Financed the whole trade. Breakout multiplier members got the May calls on Friday. Those are up. Guys, help me in the chat. They got to be up 300-400% at this point. And if you did it real spicy and bought the Aprils, those are up 10, 15, 20%, depending on the strikes you bought. But when you get an outsized move like this, it's what options are made for, right? This is a stock that has been stuck in the mud for so long now after a nasty downtrend. One of the AI poster childs down 60% from the highs late last year. When you finally get that bottom and you see that starting point momentum, you really want to be long calls because you can make a lot of money fast. So shout out breakout multiplier members. Glad they got a big hit on this one.
Yeah, some days it works. Sometimes it just happens fast, like really fast, like the next day, right?
Bang.
Sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it does. And this was fast.
Another thing that you see is that volatility spiking in both directions at turning points. So it was like best week ever, worst week ever, best day ever. That's what's going on in software at the index level right now. That's some real bottomy kind of stuff, right? And the reason it's bottomy in this case is because the trend can only shift in one direction. It's been down, right? So you know that volatility spikes during, moments or trend reversals, right? So when you see that volatility spiking and you look at a chart like this, well, if the trend is reversing, where's it going? It's going higher, Spencer. It's
Well,
going higher.
and what I like too is these were quick trades. You're not betting on a V bottom here. You have no idea what's going to happen, right?
But
Obviously, you
but
you have, you have no idea in a month or 2 months where we're going to be, but you
I
do
think
know
I think it's a primary trend bottom. I think it's also a
okay,
tradable low on a shorter time frame. And I think that
exactly.
for people, it's both. Is the way the evidence is stacking up. And I think for people who are looking to express like a primary trend thesis, you get an Oracle down 60%, bull market's raging on here. This was one of the darlings just last year and the year before. You could take a shot here, define your risk really well, right? You have a really clear support level at the lower bounds here. So I think that makes a lot of sense. I think you can go on down the line in the AI stuff, the stuff that's been banged up, the software stuff, find some big levels, lean into them, take some shots.
But the point I was making was even if you don't think there's going to be like a V, I mean, a V is unlikely. V's don't usually happen, right? But that's okay because you can still get days like yesterday, right? Where not everything, but a lot of things are just up indiscriminately, right? So
It's a great day.
yeah,
Great
great.
day.
I am happy for you
Great
and
day.
all of the people in Breaking Multiplier who got that trade. If you didn't get the trade on Friday, breakoutmultiplier.com. That's how you can get those trades. Get alerts when they are sent out, and you too can play ball and have some fun.
John Gallegos in the chat is saying Beat Report members are waiting patiently for some options plays. We went about 4x and Coinbase calls a couple weeks back. Came off the gas on that one, didn't put it back on. We probably will. We're going wild with the cryptos right now, Spencer. But we've been in the black sky,
Yeah.
and those calls are up 3-4x. We're in the April still, got a couple days there. We've already taken some big profits, and we're also in the August, so we've done really well on those. Beat Report, you're just not going to get as much, right, Spencer? We're not more conservative there, but we're just doing less and focusing on longer term trends. With Breakout Multiplier and Wave Trader, when the market turns like this, we're just like bombs away. Like we're just throwing them out here. It's been crazy. We put on like 10 trades for both of these services just in the past couple of days because we see that strong evidence of the market turn. Beat Report, we're going to be a little bit slower to kind of react to these volatility events.
Also, it's somewhat dependent on the calendar. We are just now starting earnings season. This week is a little bit light, just mostly just the banks, right? But like the next 2 or 3 weeks are going to be pretty heavy, and that'll give us more information. And that'll help people like Steve put on some trades. So it is somewhat calendar dependent. So
We're hoping that, the big cap tech trade kind of clears the air here this earnings season. That'll make things a lot easier in terms of like being able to take shots on the most liquid stocks in the market. You know what I mean? That would be a big development if that mega cap growth complex really gives us that bullish evidence that we want to see. Market starts rewarding them again. We'll be hitting that group up left and right.
And I was going to mention, since you mentioned Oracle, they had news, right? News in quotes.
Yeah, what was it? CoreWeave?
No, it was Bloom Energy.
BE. Yeah.
But as if that really matters, though, right? Like, I read that headline. Okay, so they're expanding a partnership with Bloom. Sure, whatever, right?
Back in business, baby.
But the point is, how many times do we see headlines match the price action, right? You get bullish headline on a big green day or with amongst green days, or the opposite during a bunch of red days. All of a sudden all the bad news comes out, right? So
you're almost making that like earnings season kind of point where good news is good again, right? in the case of Oracle yesterday. Now, will that follow through and also apply to these big tech earnings reports? Because they're going to be good. But will it be bullish action on the heels of it?
Yeah.
You're starting to see that, I think, more and more here.
Let's look at the banks here this morning. Obviously, they are all very good at coming in above estimates. Although Wells Fargo is the one that seems to miss the most. And they did miss this morning on the top and the bottom line, which you don't see too often. So that jumped, we obviously care less about the beat and the miss and more about it within the context of the overall trend and the price action. But you don't see a double miss too often these days. I haven't looked to see if there was like
who had a double miss?
Wells.
They still suck. Yeah. The banks did nice yesterday, going a little red to green.
I was going to say that Goldman. That's a nice day for Goldman, right?
Yeah, like look for JPM to do that today. I'm thinking some shaky action. We've gone in both directions now here. Pre-market. I'll bet that's green by the end of the day. Citi looks fantastic. Harmander makes a great point. So many people think that's bear market behavior when volatility spikes in both directions. It can be. You have to pair the volatility characteristics of the chart with the price chart. I'm gonna write this chapter in the next book.
Yeah,
this is so important, and he's so right. This is one of those things that is constantly misinterpreted. This kind of evidence. Yeah, we'll do that. I'm a big volatility guy.
But you also like trends. So
I like to mash them together. Like we did yesterday.
How does that work?
You take the trend, you take that momentum, you take a little bit of relative strength, you mix it with the volatility. I want to be in the best stuff when it's making the biggest moves. You can't really do that consistently without studying and analyzing the volatility of the financial instruments and assets that you're trading.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just looking at the Citi chart for a second here.
Earnings season has arrived.
Very nice. Can you have the calendar, please? What slide are we on? It was from yesterday.
I just got a new mic. Look at this guy, man in the box. I got a new mic.
And
they're sending me so much stuff, Spencer. You got all this stuff? I got it. Oh, that's not it. Hold on. Let's see. We can do an unboxing.
Where'd he go? He just disappears. This is my life, just so you know.
I already lost the mic they sent me.
Okay. Can we bring up slide 16?
Am I doing this right? SM78.
Yeah, that's what we're working with right here.
Legendary vocals.
That's what this guy is.
Sure.
Yeah. There we go. Thank you very much. All right, big banks this morning, and Netflix is important. Obviously, we like that, but outside of that, really not much going on this week. By the way, seeing Pepsi on there just reminded me of Staples. I'm seeing maybe it's the chart. I've seen like 5 different Campbell soup charts in the last 24 hours. Bart had one, and we didn't get to it, but have you seen the CPB of late? Shout out to New Jersey. Ouch. It's like a 20-year low. More.
I want to see, thinking of yesterday, you and Kenny down at the Jersey Shore, fist pumping and fist pumping, because you guys were.
That can be arranged.
Have you done it? Have you and Kenny gone fist pumping together?
No. Kenny's supposed to take. He's supposed to take me shooting. That hasn't happened yet either. But yeah, we can do a morning show from the shore. Do a little shore tour this summer.
I'm a fan. Sure. Yeah. I'm not one of those haters, Spencer. You know me.
No. There's nothing to hate as far as I'm concerned. Okay.
Hey, it's Banks Week. That's the story.
It is Banks Week. Yesterday was I said a great day. If you looked at it just from the percentage standpoint, you would say Goldman Sachs closed in the red. Yeah, it did. But look what it did from the open to the close, right? It actually traded up most of the day. So it gapped down, but then for most of the day, traded higher.
And also, look at what it did the couple weeks heading into that report, up 15%.
True.
Let them dance. Let them dance. You got some super regionals like the M&T. You got some big insurers like Progressive. You got the brokerage big boy Charles Schwab. Hasn't been good. Hasn't been good. Can it break out of this little range? If it does, it's got new all-time highs written all over it. Big base there in the Schwab, right? This is just one of those where it's like, which way are we going? Because it's been stuck in this range really since, I don't know, July of last year. So I think you learn a lot about the financials this week. We always do. You got a little Citizens in there. How you doing? Oh yeah, State Street, a little asset management. So you're really getting everything from the financial space.
And then isn't there like a massive tailwind here in the didn't they just lower the capital reserve requirements for all these banks? I think they did. That just happened, right? Like a month ago. They lowered the capital reserve requirements for all the big banks, I thought.
And more dereg should be coming.
So and actually I think JP Morgan this morning said that they had set aside less money. Well, that was loan loss provisions, but nonetheless, it's the same thing. So
they don't have these software investments. This isn't a problem for the big banks, right? That's why they're trending so well. They're not a part of that world right now. These are great stocks to own for the long run, long-term focused investors, because you're going to get more and more in terms of shareholder return. You're going to get more in terms of buybacks, and you're going to get more in terms of dividends. And these companies have the money, right, to treat their shareholders better. They're just waiting for the government to say, "Yeah, you can do that now."
Yeah, I think that's what's happening now.
And the market's front running that, right? Because people want to be there to collect that cha-cha, right? When the dividends are juiced and the buyback programs are increased. Right, because that just sends the value of the stock higher and higher and higher. Is there a better bank than the Bank of New York Mellon? Shout out Boney. We used to call it Boney. We would do the Boney Bank Rex for Bank of New York, Boney. But this is a good one. Leader in the space for a long time now. Broke out of that big bank base. Right, we have these big bank bases. You could go back to the dot-com bubble in some of them. You go back to the financial crisis and others like Citi. The BK base actually looked more like a tech stock. If you zoom out on that chart, I don't know if we have the BK. If you zoom out on that chart, peaked out in early 2001 or late 2000, sideways for 20 some odd years, 25 years. Just recently broke higher, completed that base. This thing, we got a runner here in the BK. So excited for that report too. It's just always a
wait a minute. BlackRock reported this morning. Okay, BlackRock said
BK. You're talking about
no. I know. I'm moving on. Sorry. Okay. BlackRock reported this morning. BlackRock said in the first quarter they had $9 billion of net inflows into private markets. How is that possible?
Oh, that there's still inflows in the private markets? Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing. Big push.
How does that make sense? Is that was that all that you know what? That must have been all in January, February. I bet that's what it was. I bet it was all in the earlier part of the quarter. It wasn't in March.
Sounds like it's a little hard to get your money back in that space these days.
That has to be it. There's no other way they could take in that much money in light of what's going to be going on. It was probably all January, February. Okay. That's interesting still.
No, JC is not back. Harminder, you'll be okay. Okay. He's going to be out all week. You're going to be okay. We're all going to be okay. Where is he? Do we know?
Actually, normally I always know where he is. I have no idea. I have no clue.
Working from his secret bunker in the Poconos. Oh, throw up the Boney, dude. Big one. You know how I like my bases, Spencer? Big. I like them big. There you go. Big base. One of the biggest. Good for you if you got it. You got to get them while they're fresh, these bases, though. You got to get them while they're fresh. Like
So
City for 80.
I was gonna say the chart that looks closest to this, but without the huge move, parabolic move is City, right?
Yeah, but that base breakout level was still 45 points ago, 55% ago in City.
You trying to talk me out of it? Or you trying to talk me
Joint
into
and a
it?
coffee. Nice. Chat's hot today. I don't think you don't want the consumer staples here.
Oh, they're terrible.
No, you don't
They're
want them.
awful.
And we almost put a trade on utility stock like last week, and I caught myself. Great coil. A lot of reasons to like it. And I just stopped. And I said, what am I doing? Right? We're failing tops out here. This is go time. This is new leg up time. And I'm going to be out here buying utilities calls? I don't think so. I don't think so, Spencer. You can have your utilities, have your staples. You can have your low volatility, boring stocks. I don't want them right now. I want the fun stuff. I want that offense. The offense is on the field. It's risk on out here. The espresso was good this morning. Hey, D, should I keep Amazon from the? Don't know what you're talking about, but
I will tell you. Wait, I will tell you what it's talking about.
I'll
tell you what it's talking about. Amazon is buying Global
GSAT.
Star GSAT.
Yeah, we're in long calls
for $90 a share, or what's the ratio? 0.30 something, right? Something like that. If you're a shareholder, you know. But you can get the cash or you can get Amazon stock. Those are your options. What do you do?
They keep buying up these space and satellite stories. I think drone companies are going to get bought up big soon as well.
0.321 is your ratio.
They're going to keep buying these data center stocks, the Ciphers and Huts and Wolves of the world. Relative strength can be telling sometimes. I really like, I think you're going to get, well, I'm not going to give it all away, Spencer. You know, I say too much sometimes. I'll just shut my mouth.
Speaking of satellite stocks, there was a certain satellite stock in, was it last week's 2 to 100? I think it was last week's.
Which one? Yeah. 2 to 100 just nails a lot of these themes.
It was the VSAT, right?
Dude, so many good space stocks have come out of 2 to 100. The VSAT's a good one. I don't like it though. Their internet sucks. Actually, it worked really, really well for me on Sunday. So I'll give them a pass this time. I was watching the Masters, just hanging out. Delta's so good. I flew Southwest a couple weeks ago. Never again. Those seats are like made of plastic. I'm not a big guy, but like I'm too big for the Southwest seats. They're not, I don't know what they're doing. People must be, larger people than me must be incredibly uncomfortable on those planes. You need a big comfy seat. You need a good cush there.
You've had a bad experience with that on Delta. That's all right. To each their own.
No, I said Southwest. Delta's lovely.
Okay.
Great seats. That's what I'm saying. I'm comparing the two.
Southwest
was terrible, man. I was so uncomfortable. And sometimes I was stuck in the middle because I didn't pick my seat, which never happens. I'm never in the middle. This is the first time I've sat in the middle in like 10 years.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
I'm already pissed off. They couldn't do anything for me. I'm like trying to change my seat. So I get in there, and sometimes this is for everybody. Sometimes you have people on the outside. If you're on the window, you lean window, okay? If you're on the aisle, you favor the aisle, and you give that person in the middle a little room to work with. In fact, you should give up the middle armrest and let the middle person have that because you got more space on the periphery, right? But sometimes you sit with people who just don't have the decency or presence of mind to realize that, and they're dominating the armrest, and you're stuck in the middle sitting like this, and your armpits are sweating, and it was a terrible experience. Never again.
I think I might be in the minority here, but I don't believe that anyone should ever recline their seat on an airplane. Just because you can does not mean you should. We're all in this together, everyone. Let's all just stay upright.
Yeah.
We can be courteous to the folks behind us, and we can have some leg room in front. And we know
you got an end seat. And if you got an end seat, give up that middle armrest.
Yeah.
Bunch of just bad
all right. Here's what we'll do. Let's talk to Kenny. We got Doug Busch in the house but let's bring Kenny on for a couple minutes, and then we'll bring on Doug, and then we'll see.
It's been a long time coming. They ain't cuffing my clock, they tugging. Putting up numbers, 99 pounds, and I still kept it 100. Hola. Yeah.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. Why does your title say the man who? The man who what? Oh, you're on mute. Can't hear you. The man who trades?
Oh, you don't hear? I was getting down to some Moby. Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
I'm just chilling today, baby.
Well, how was yesterday?
That's what we're going to talk about. Oh, so the man who, right? So the man who is one of my nicknames because I am the man who. How many emails have you got in this industry where they say the man who did something? And for some reason, it's not the picture of me, like the man who called Carvana at $11 while people were saying it was going out of business.
Oh, I see.
$150 target.
Okay.
And that was me. Did you get an email? Wasn't me there. The man who. Yeah, the man who called this correction on February 3rd to its conclusion on March 31st. That's who. The man who right here.
Okay. Got
So
it.
yeah, yesterday, possibly the number one trading day, not just of the year, in all of humanity. Because yesterday was something special. Because once again, because of the power gap that we witnessed on March 31st and the follow-up on the next day after the UN meeting or whatever it was, the bottom was in. And what I witnessed on March 31st was the same thing I witnessed way back in 2012, and I ignored it. Never again. So we covered and went long. We've been long ever since. And yesterday was something epic. The Goldman Sachs trade, everybody that was waiting 3 months for, did not disappoint. We made a collective about 30 points on Goldman Sachs on 3 different long trades. But while that was happening, I really loved my Oracle trade because that trade we caught on Friday with some options. And I was telling people, if this thing doesn't blast off today, it's because of options expiration. There's something called pinning. Wait till you see what's going to happen on Monday. And we bought it again on Monday. And we held it all day because it never broke trend. And we held it into this morning, and we're up by another 8 points on it. So welcome to the Investor Center. So it has been something epic. Yesterday was a collective almost 80 points we made. We had Coinbase, we had Oracle, we had Goldman Sachs, obviously the QQQ, which basically I had to force people to not short. Everybody for some reason was looking to short this market, thinking that, oh, something worse is. No. There's no such thing as another shoe to drop. You're not legging into any more shorts. It's over. All right. It's been over. If it's going to show up again, it'll happen today. But if you're not watching the VIX products, how you doing? UVXY now, we're short from 57. Now it's at 37. You're going to be shorting a market where the VIX products are collapsing. So yesterday was it was so exquisite. And we walk in today, everything's working. Probably just going to cash out and go play pickleball today. It's about 80 degrees. My dad, 81 years old, still getting out there on the courts.
Wow.
Apparently he was bullied by 2 women yesterday, so I'm going to defend his honor.
Dude, I've been bullied on pickleball court. The women, the middle-aged women are aggressive.
Oh yeah. And my dad is
bullied.
so competitive. He's so competitive. He wasn't joking around. He's like, you got to come tomorrow to Brooklyn. We got to beat these women.
Yeah.
And he needs it.
Yeah. It's serious stuff. You know what's funny is, like, at the rate we're going, Kenny, we are a couple of days away from new all-time highs.
I know.
Right?
It's
in the S&P. Right. I'm looking at SPY right now. We're at 686. All-time high is 697. You know? That's a couple of days.
Right. And
at this rate.
The new mantra is, this is the biggest bull trap in history. Right. Sure. Whatever. Yeah. Good. But first of all, we've never gotten out of a bull market. You know, again, when they started calling that a bear market, I'm like, what are you talking about? We haven't even and with the whole time we were saying how it's controlled and all that. And now you see it all played out exactly like it was supposed to. It was a rolling correction, got down to that 2-year support on the VWAP, and it held. If it wouldn't have held, it would have been a little different story. And the crazy thing is, I was talking about this with a bunch of people. It was Bitcoin was the glue of this whole thing, which is just so ironic because that was leading the charge to the downside where this whole sell-off started in February. And because Bitcoin held the 60 and stabilized, it kind of put a floor underneath tech stocks. As much as it seemed scary, it wasn't that much selling going on.
That's an interesting way of looking at this. I haven't heard anyone call Bitcoin the glue that held us together here.
Yeah.
I suppose you can make a case for that. It stopped going down, like you said, a long time ago. Right? When was that? That low was
February 3rd, February
3rd. That's 2 months ago now. So
Right.
all right.
And now we've got two significant lows. Again, if you're, I'm talking a little bit more of swinging right now, but that 60,000 and the 555 on the Qs could be generational at this point, because we've seen every time we have a correction that sparks a brand new bull market. And in this case, that's exactly what I thought it was going to do. But, flash forward to what we're doing today. I'm looking at Credo. I mean, the stock has gapped up huge on them doing the taking over. Big fan of Credo. I do love the stock, but I'm short right this second. I'm just looking for the rollover. If you guys see this chart, just a big, massive gap. Just looking to fade this gap. Hold on, I'll show you the chart.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Here's your Credo. I nibbled short right around 159, just waiting to see what happens next. Got $1 of risk in this trade. Not much to, again, massive gap up. And just put it in perspective, stock was $87 5 days ago. It's doubled. So
life comes at you fast.
Give me a 5-point pullback. Seems pretty doable. So I got this one on the list right now. And then, the JP Morgan and the Citibank, you've already had the collapse and the recovery and a little faux show, bro. So, same thing with Goldman Sachs. The Goldman Sachs trade was a lot easier because it hadn't broke VWAP the whole morning. And then we had 3 different entries that consolidated at VWAP. Same kind of thing here. We missed the down move. You missed the up move. You missed the second up move. Just going to wait it out. Patience is king right now. You're never going to be wanting for an idea or an opportunity. This is why this is the greatest trading market. So if the fear of missing out has been your downfall, what are you afraid of? There's another 30 ideas coming around the bend today, tomorrow, and this is by far, like I keep saying, it's the greatest trading environment I've ever been a witness to. There's zero fear of missing out. You have the next greatest trade is either today or tomorrow or the next day. Just wait for it.
You can be there too. Hitthebid.com. Join Kenny every day in his room. Kenny got shorts. See you tomorrow.
Be careful out there. See ya.
Always be careful. All right, let's bring on today's feature guest. We got Doug Busch in the house. He is, as I mentioned, the senior technical analyst at Barron's. Joining us now for second or third time on the morning show. It's been a while. Glad to have him back. Let's talk software. You guys ready? I am.
Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
Good morning, sir.
How are you, Spencer? Great to be part of the show. It's been a long time.
It's been too long. Glad to have you back. What I want to get your take on something Kenny just said. He called Bitcoin the glue. I haven't heard that before. I know you were writing about Bitcoin a couple weeks back. What do you take? What's your take on that?
Well, you know what? It is an interesting take to me. I was looking at the chart yesterday, obviously preparing for the show. On February 5th, if you take a look at that chart, that looked like capitulation to me. Not sure if it's a bottom. Obviously, as a technician, for a downtrend to halt itself, obviously the first thing that has to happen is it has to stop going down, right? So it stopped going down. I kind of want to see it above 75, but I think he's got a good point there. I really do. It's a risk-on asset. Let's see if it starts acting like that once again.
All right. Speaking of risk on, let's talk about software. Can we bring up that IGV chart again? Sorry, I just took it off. Let's bring it back. There we go. Okay, we got the IGV. What are you seeing? What is the first thing you see when you look at this chart?
Well, look, obviously it's broke below that, that bearish head and shoulders. Obviously they tend to work a little better up at highs, but yesterday kind of completed a bullish morning star. If it could get above this like 80 level, I really like it. From false moves come fast ones in the opposite direction. Mm-hmm. But just as a whole, let's think about software. It's really this kind of this area kind of worried me a little bit. It's really America, right? America, we're a services-based economy. Software is all services. But look, like I said yesterday, it had the best daily return, I think, in a year, completed that bullish morning star. Is it the start of a dead cat bounce? Is it start of something more meaningful? We'll see. It's still 33% off its highs. Underperforming the semis. I know you were mentioning the semis a little bit. But yeah, again, if it can get back above that head and shoulders, let's see what happens here. You can see at the top of that chart, there's some bullish RSI divergence. That's a good thing. The bottom there, you see the ratio chart. Obviously, it's not kept up with semis, but there were a couple green shoots last week. Microsoft was basically on the week as the IGV was down 7%. We saw some downgrades last week. Like, come on, where were you? But I saw some downgrades of what DocuSign, Viva, Autodesk. Not the most popular names, but then yesterday we saw what Altician. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but Team getting thrown out of the NASDAQ 100. So it's kind of like they're throwing the kitchen sink out. They're throwing everything out. So I think it's at a real critical point here. I want to see it get above 80. But yesterday was a really good start, Spencer. It really was.
I was going to ask you, so what's your line on the sand? It's 80 here.
Yeah. I want to see it get back above 80. From there, let's see what happens. Maybe it could go on to fill in that gap from late January, just below 100. But, and just take a look at the volume since February. I mean, it's been huge volume. Let's see what happens here. Microsoft, Palantir has to take the lead. I'm writing a note today on software. So let's see if this sector could get going. It could really go a long way to help the market out.
Not for nothing, but we are currently 1 cent away from 80. I'm just saying.
Wow. Okay. I love it. I love it.
Oh, now we're 3 cents away. Sorry.
Okay.
Big level.
Yeah. Oh man.
Doug Busch, how are you, my friend? It's so good to see you on here.
Steve, wonderful to see you, brother.
When did you start writing for Barron's? Your stuff is so good. I was a big Barron's fan back in the day, and you're bringing me back. I've been back to read your column now.
Oh, I really appreciate that, Steve. I mean, I've been there. I started last July, so it's almost about 9 months, almost a year. And I have to say, it's really a great spot to work. They've been around 100 years. Everyone there, tries to help. It's a great organization. I sit right next to some big veterans there: Al Root, Teresa Rivas, Jacob Sonnenschein. So, and we started this investor circle not too long ago, a couple months ago, and it's really taken off. We have exclusive weekly stock picks, live Q&As, so the subscribers can interact.
And your charts are right in there. I love it.
Charts are in there. The charts are in there. I do follow-ups. I do a chart of the week. So yeah, we're really, we're sharing ideas. We're connecting. We're letting the subscribers connect with the reporters. And it's really been great. It's really been a great experience.
That's fantastic. They're lucky to have you. Everybody, make sure you're reading Doug's stuff over there on Barron's. I used to just dig through their market data pages. Like I would spend my Saturday mornings just digging through that paper. I miss those days.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I mean, every Monday morning I make sure I get my paper and, read it cover to cover. It's great stuff. It really is. And thanks for the kind words, Steve. I really appreciate that.
So help us, try and navigate. Let's zoom out, forget software, broader market. 2 weeks ago, you had to look at something like the S&P 500. If we have charts, guys, throw them up as we're kind of going through this conversation. But you had to look at the NASDAQ or the S&P 500, breaking some big levels there, taking out the 200-day, and say to yourself, these are tops, right? These certainly look like tops. Then fast forward just a couple weeks. I mean, it looks like they failed them miserably, like they were just some major shakeouts, right, at some key levels. And we have rocketed higher. The NASDAQ just put together, what is it? 9
days
straight
in a row, I think.
9 straight days. So what do you do with this kind of market momentum swinging in both directions off of these key levels? How do you make sense of this all as a technician?
Yeah, well, first let's take a look at the big picture. I mean, this market's obviously been very resilient. I mean, not only obviously with the Middle East conflict, the news over the weekend. We just talked about the software debacle, private credit. We had a BlackRock report this morning. It was up 3%. So maybe those worries are getting put aside. JP Morgan has a little bit of exposure. But as you said, the S&P is now it's 2% off its all-time highs, and this looks like yet another V-shaped recovery. We said the Nasdaq's up 9 days in a row. The VIX is a teenager again.
Yep.
The SMH was up 11% last week, with NVIDIA still kind of in correction mode. It still hasn't really done much.
Isn't that amazing?
The home builders are off 20% from their 50. I mean, but the market's forward looking. We know that. Kind of tends to look 6 to 9 months right out into the future. So maybe they see something good. Maybe there's a peace resolution. Maybe obviously energy prices could come in. Inflation can kind of tamper down a little bit. But look, we're price guys, right? Price is truth. And I was skeptical, and I still am. But I'd love to. I'm a big round number guy, Steve. I'd love to see this S&P get above 7,000, but what it's done so far is very impressive. No question about it.
I mean, you would think it's going to overshoot those highs when it takes them out. 7,000's right there, right around the corner.
No doubt about it. I mean, and I've been cautious. The Nasdaq. Let's really the last 3 years. It's been up like 43, 29, and 20%. I mean, it's still flat here.
Yeah, let it breathe.
Yeah, let it breathe a little bit. I mean, I think that'd be healthy. We're down fractionally year to date. I did see something from Subu Trade that said, when the Nasdaq's up 8 days in a row, I think it was over the weekend, so it didn't incorporate yesterday, and it's up 9%. It's only happened 10 times. It's or 7 times. It's up every time.
Yep.
On a median of 10%. So I mean, I think we got the wind behind our back, but again. We're always worrying about the downside, right? We let the upside take care of itself. But so far, so good. So far, so good.
And I was worrying about the downside just 2 weeks ago, and this is what the market does to you, right? It's designed to fool, what is it, majority of the people, the majority of the time? I'm looking at this thing going, oh, man, this sucks. That's a top. I got to reduce exposure. 2 days later, boom, right back off to the races. I mean, if you're not having fun out here, with these markets, I don't know what here. This is the chart I'm talking about.
Yep.
They
it looks like a bearish rounded top breakdown right there, right?
Textbook.
Yeah.
Boom. Those failed tops are powerful continuation patterns, though, when they print.
Absolutely. I mean, those tend to be some of my favorite patterns when you see a breakdown or a breakout and it kind of fails and then it just re-energizes again, takes out those weak shareholders, bear trap. Let's see what happens here. But yeah, I mean, that's a nice chart right off the VWAP. That looks pretty good to me.
So talk to me quick. You just kind of breezed by it, but that action from semiconductors, a lot of people will weigh the semiconductors more in their overall, market view, just due to the importance, the critical nature of that industry group. I mean, it's hard to imagine that this group of stocks could do better. And like you said, NVIDIA, not really participating, not one of the ones at highs. And a week or two ago, you could have said the same thing about Broadcom and AMD and some of the other major weightings. So that to me, I don't even have to look at some of the industry group breadth indicators. I know that breadth's got to be good if the big boys aren't participating and the index is looking the way they do. How bullish is that in your opinion?
I think it's very bullish. I mean, you've seen some kind of like mid-tier players hold the line, if you will. Some obscure names. I know Kenny mentioned Credo. That looks good. I mean, I know he shorted, but it sounded like he was only shorted for 5 points or so. But you look at other names like A-Lab, which is just Astera Labs, rocketed off the very round 100 number. Intel, I think, is up 50% already year to date.
Look at them.
The semis have really towed the line. And, as I was saying before, software as services, the semis are hardware, and, they're acting really well. Most of these things are, produced abroad in Taiwan, South Korea, obviously, Micron, it's just crazy what these things are doing. And just think if NVIDIA, I mean, Broadcom, that started to get going, but if NVIDIA can get going, I mean, the largest company on the planet, only $4 trillion company right now, I believe. I mean, that could really, put some more wind behind the sails.
And imagine if software stops going down too. I mean, that's a big weighting in the major averages as well. NASDAQ and S&P have a ton of software in them.
Absolutely. That'd be a nice combination right there for sure. Absolutely.
How are you thinking through some of these commodity stock trades? I mean, energy has been the trade of the year so far, breaking out of a monster base. Other commodity groups, the base metals, industrial metals, now agriculture, starting to work pretty well as part of this kind of value rotation. You seeing anything there that you're interested in?
Well, first of all, look, everyone's talking about energy, how it's doing so well. These names are doing well before the war even broke out. They were leading, and even with this pretty good pullback, it's still leading on a year-to-date basis, a one-year basis. So everything's going pretty well there, and it's still just about a 4% weighting in the S&P 500, which just blows my mind. So I think there's a lot of room. I think we're in the early innings with this energy trade. I think Staples is 5% of the S&P. So just think of that. Energy has a smaller weighting than the Staples, comparing
Amazing.
how important they are. Just unbelievable. But yeah, no, I like energy. The equipment names have acted a little bit better.
Yeah.
Silver, gold, I mean, they're catching a bit again. I mean, you don't see the crazy volatility that you were seeing a couple months ago. I think the last day of January, I mean, I'm not exactly sure, but I think silver plummeted 33% in one day, I think, on
Yeah.
margin requirement. So you're not seeing that volatility. So that tells me a bottom's probably in there.
I like
one
that.
other thing, copper's above $6. And Freeport, I always used to
nice.
like Southern Copper over Freeport.
Yeah.
But Freeport's kind of flipped the script. Freeport looks a lot better than Southern Copper to me. Probably could go good with either one of those. Freeport's got a double bottom here. If it can get above 70, I mean, that could get on another nice run again. But yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say too, the dollar, that Dixie can't get above 100. It seems like there's again, round number theory. Can't seem to get above 100, but I mean, I'm not counting it out. I still think it's the world's reserve currency, but we'll see.
Huge level. So all of the bullish equities evidence that we're seeing and we're discussing here is great. But then when you pair it with the fact that the dollar was at this huge level, that God, if we broke through 100 in the Dixie, that's probably going to be a headwind for a lot of things, a lot of risk assets, and it fails miserably. That I look at that as like confirmation of all of the other offensive information that we're getting from the
Absolutely.
market. So I think that was a really important one. And the thing I like about Freeport more than Southern Copper here, because you're right, Southern Copper has been the leader in that space. That's been the one with the relative strength.
Sure.
Just a clean level, a giant base and a clean level played against it in the FCA.
Absolutely.
So what are you looking at? What is this? We need this story. Is that an old ExxonMobil gas pump behind you?
Oh, it's a large painting. Actually, my mom just downsized, so she was getting rid of some of her art stuff, and it's hard to see. But this painting behind, I mean, look, we're just talking about energy, how well it's doing. I thought it was kind of appropriate to put that in the background. But yeah, it's a mobile gear. It's probably about 7 or 8 feet. But yeah, no, I absolutely love it. It was one of my mom's favorites. She just moved, downsized, so I was happy to pick it up. Other things I'm looking at, is that what you were saying, Steve?
What's funny about the energy too? People will say, "Oh, you couldn't have any edge in this trade. This was a war trade." Like you said, XLE broke out of that base in January, long before any Iran thing. So technicians, we were there. We were there early before all this stuff.
Absolutely, 100%.
We're not geopolitical experts either. Talk to me about the TLT or the Tesla thing.
Yeah, well, the TLT, obviously, the TLT I look a lot at. It's kind of a rough bear flag there. You kind of want to see this work its way higher. Rates will go down. Obviously, they work in an inverse fashion, but you can see that bear flag started with that bearish abandoned baby there in late February. It's come back down. Yesterday was pretty constructive, bullish engulfing candle, reclaimed the 200-day. But look, this instrument was very happy to put March behind it. It was down 4 weeks in a row. The first two were down 2%, I believe, down more than 2% each week, which is a pretty big move for the bond market.
Totally.
And let's see, if this can go higher, that leaves room for tech to go higher. Because if these rates are going to go up, it's going to affect those those long duration tech stocks. So I want to see this, again, if this could get above that bull flag, like we were talking about, that bearish head and shoulders for the IGV, from a false move, we can get a nice move higher. Let's see. I really like this here. So let's see what happens.
You make a great point. Whether it's software or speculative growth, these ARChy stocks, even cryptos, these are long duration equities. And they lower rates, right? They do better. Lower or falling.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How about Tesla? Speaking of tops, this still looks like one, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, well, again, I'm a big round number. You see that spinning top in December at 500. That was a double top from probably a few months before that. But then, look, it created all the way down to about 340. I love the doji candles. I kind of like them a little more on the weekly or monthly time frames. But last Tuesday, you can see that doji there. It's kind of held that next day, that Wednesday. You see, Tesla was down that day. Remember, that was the day where the NASDAQ gapped up 3%. So that was some real relative weakness. But I mean, this thing's down 8 weeks in a row. And let's remember, this is about a fifth of the XLY. So I mean, that's weighing on the discretionary group. But yeah, I mean, look, it's still 30% from its 52-week high. I mentioned that spinning top candle. You can see that bearish death cross, but let's remember that tends to happen after most of the technical damage has been done.
Yep.
I'm not saying there's any more room for downside, but that doji there, I always like to say, look, there's no need to catch a falling knife until a technical catalyst presents itself, right? That was that doji. Gives you good risk reward to play against on the long side. You got some bullish RSI divergence. You can see a higher low on the RSI where price made a lower low. Yeah. So I think this could make its way higher from here. I don't know why the stock's on an 8-week losing streak. Is it they just want this SpaceX, IPO to come out, get out of the way? I have no idea. I do think it might get that letter X symbol, though. That'd be nice if it got that, that old US seal.
Because they're gone now. That's right.
Yeah, they got bought out. So, I don't know if the single symbol status is still prestigious, but I'm sure Elon wouldn't mind that X symbol.
Another thing I like about this chart up here in the upper pane, the RSI 14, the stock's 30% off its highs, right? But it's been a real slow bleed lower. That momentum never got oversold, which is pretty interesting, right? It actually speaks to a resilience in the price action, despite the fact, like you said, 8 weeks down in a row or whatever. It's been pretty bad up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's ever. It possibly has, but again, if this can get going, then the XLY can get going. I mean, Amazon, thank God, it's showing, some bifurcation. Amazon's actually, the top holding in the XLY.
Yeah.
It's been up 16% in the last month. Tesla's been down 10%. So again, there's so many things that could push this S&P over 7,000 if they get going, right?
Yeah.
Software, if it gets going, if that TLT, if that can start rising, if Tesla can get going, I haven't even spoke about biotech. I mean, biotech looks good to me. I mean, so yeah, there's a lot of positives going on.
You mentioned home builders as another one. That's a big risk on group that you want to see bottom out.
Absolutely, obviously affected by interest rates. The one there I'm looking at is Toll Brothers, TOL. That's held up pretty well.
Yep.
I think it's because that's more of it represents the luxury sector, but that looks like that group, the ITB, you got to be careful there. The XHB isn't really a pure play home builder ETF, but that ITB is, and that's breaking above a bear flag. So, we're getting a lot of green shoots. There really are. I think, I'm starting to get positive, but again, I want to temper my enthusiasm because look, we're older guys. We've been around. I mean, we know Mr. Market can humiliate you very quickly.
Oh yeah. Tries to every day, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Keeps us on our toes.
No question about it.
Doug, a question we get a lot from the chat is, what should I read? I'm getting into technical analysis. What kind of book should I read? You're one of the best in the business. Drop a couple book recommendations or, early learning stuff for folks trying to get into TA. What are some of your favorite books?
Well, I'm probably what you look. I do a ton of work, Steve, but I try and keep it as simple as possible, right?
Love that about you.
Price. It's all about price. I mean, sometimes I see guys have, 10 different indicators on a chart. Everything reacts to price, right? So let's follow price. If you want to keep it simple, you can't go wrong with McGee. I like his, you know, the McGee books. I'm sure, are you going to pull it out here? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Very nice. And you know me, I love the candlesticks. So Steve Neeson,
Yeah.
Steve Neeson, I'm sure you have it there somewhere
Back here
in the
somewhere.
back there, but you know that book. Those are two books you should start with right there. Those are two great books to get started. You know, to give you a great foundation. And I think you could start right there.
And the Nissan book is great. I mean, with the actual like chart images and graphics that they have to really break it all down. It's a lot of fun too. We
Oh,
got
yeah.
phrases like abandoned babies and gravestone dojis and all this crazy shit. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Island reversals, you know?
Yep. All that stuff. And you know, the one of the good thing about my work, we actually did a glossary. So you know, and I linked to it. You know, in case people, again, you know, Barron's I think has all kinds of investors. You know, high net worth. You know,
Yeah.
beginners. So you know, I linked to it. You know, and it's all good. It's all good, Steve.
That's it. Go read Doug's stuff and you're going to learn technical analysis that way.
Love it. Thank you.
All right. You want to leave us with any ideas before you go? What's your favorite group or industry or theme right now into the next couple of months? Where's a place to pay attention to?
Well, look, you know, biotech is really good to me. I know I've mentioned that, you know, we kind of want to be with things that are strong already. Biotech's been pretty strong. It didn't really get battered around too much. Inside the group, you know, you have the XBI, obviously you have the IBB. That's another risk on to me. The XBI is only 2% off its all-time high. The IBB is 5% off those 52-week highs. You know, the IBB has those more mature plays like Gilead.
Yes.
And I was reading somewhere over the weekend, there's basically a $300 billion patent cliff coming off for these big pharma and biotech and you're seeing it. Yeah, it's reflected in all this M&A activity. Gilead bought 3 companies in the last 6 weeks.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, obviously, you know, buying a stock, you know, hoping it's going to get taken over is not something, you know, that's not a primary catalyst. But a lot of these names, the group's acting well. I think it's going to continue. The fact that these big ones, these big companies are buying tells me that they think the group's undervalued, and they probably know a lot better than we do. I'm far from a doctor, but these guys know what's going on, and I think the XBI is going to work itself higher.
Great point. I mean, the patent cliff, when companies fall off the patent cliff, they get a hole blown in their revenue.
Yep.
And they got plenty of money. They got to keep growing. So then they go and buy that growth back from smaller biotechs. And that's a very bullish thing for the space. And we keep seeing it. I feel like it's every other day. I come in and I look through my feed. Somebody else is getting bought. That's just fantastic. And Doug, this one too is kind of one of those groups where usually doing well when rates are lower. You know, so maybe banks, builders, biotechs all working out here. Maybe the speculative growth and the software starts working too, because these are interest rate groups.
Absolutely. These companies, a lot of them don't make money, you know, so they rely on funding and whatnot. But yeah, that's a very good point, Steve. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that can go right, but again, let's keep trusting price. Let's see if it can grind higher. It's climbing the wall of worry, obviously, with everything that's going on. And, you know, I see the green shoots, but, you know, again, price has to back it up. Price has to confirm.
I'm leaning in that direction too, my friend. All right, Doug, this was so awesome. We got to have you on here more often. Spencer, that's your job. All right, we got to get Doug on more. This is just great.
Anytime.
All right, Doug. Thanks. Have a good one.
Steve, great seeing you. Spencer, great seeing you. Have a great day.
Doug.
Take care.
He really is fantastic. I mean, Doug Busch, I've been reading his stuff and following him for so long. Back when I didn't know much about charts at all. He was a guy that I was reading really early on. So highly recommend him and all of his stuff. The most important thing I think he said there for everybody is how he likes to just keep it simple, right? It's price. At the end of the day, you could put 10 indicators on your chart. What you'll end up finding if you go and learn the math behind these indicators is 5 of them are going to be basically the same and show you the same thing. And then all of them are simply derivatives of the price chart anyway, right?
Yeah.
So it's ancillary evidence at best. Follow that price, right? The patterns themselves, the candlestick formations like he talked about, tell you a whole lot. So keeping it simple, just always such great advice, not just when you're getting started either. I went through a period in my career where I said, I'm doing too much, and you just started cutting stuff out, right? So you should always be trying to re-simplify that process, because you get like a desimplification drag over time where you just start adding more tools. And every now and then you got to go back, right? Take a step back and say, do I really still need these? Do I still need that? Do I still need this? Am I overthinking this? And just kind of trim it up, cut the fat.
It's no different than, your clothes in your closet, or like, do I really need all this? Or probably not, right? You just accumulate stuff over time, and that's a good thing. But it's good to do some spring cleaning. I also love how he just shamelessly was like, "Yeah, I love big round numbers," because I also love big round. It's kind of stupid, but it doesn't mean anything. But I love big. I love 100. I love 100. I love 1,000. Right? I love big round numbers. I don't know why. I just do.
I'm with you,
know what I
Spencer. I
mean?
like them big and round as well.
Yeah. All right. It is 9:33. Markets are open. Oh, we didn't even do a state of the markets today. Damn, I forgot. Let's see. SPY's up 1/3%. Dow is flat. NASDAQ up 0.7. Russell identical. What do we got? Oil down 3 1/3. Gold up about 1. Silver up 3 1/4. Bitcoin, yeah, okay. All right. Energy leading the way down today so far. It's early. We're 3 minutes into the session.
Whew.
Let's just take one last look before we go.
Hot market, Spencer. Can't stop, won't stop kind of market.
The IGV up 2.5%. Okay, that's all you need to know.
We were feeling so pulled up on the space yesterday, Spencer. We said, you know what? And we rarely ever do this. We usually pick the best ones, pick the top vehicles. We said, we're just doing IGV. We're just boom. IGV calls. Let's go. Those will double soon.
All right, so here's what we'll do. We'll hop off the morning show right now. Strazza was going to be back live in a half hour or thereabouts for the open bar. So that's at 10. If you're watching us on YouTube, this stream will end and automatically redirect you to the open bar. If you're watching us on our site or on Twitter, the stream will be there as well. Don't forget, Kenny Glick is live every Monday through Thursday at 11 o'clock on our channel. If you are a member of Wave Trader, you will have your weekly strategy session with Strazza today at noon. Busy morning for Steve. Sean is live at 1 for What Are My Options? And then last but not least, if you are a member of the Hot Corner Insider, you'll get your weekly video with Alfonso today as well. That is what we got going on. Thank you to Doug Busch and to Kenny and to the chat. As always, we appreciate you. If you want to give us a like, a thumbs up, I won't say no. I won't say no to that. You can do it. It's allowed. Let's get out of here. We'll see you in a few minutes for the open bar. Go make some money. YOLO responsibly. All right?